The engines were already rumbling long before the sun rose over Washington, D.C. That gray morning light spilled across the wet asphalt, reflecting the silhouettes of armored SUV lined up in perfect symmetry. The city was asleep, unaware that beneath the calm, a massive operation was unfolding, one that involved the world's most secure presidential convoy being moved across the country. And at the heart of it all stood a man named Ethan Cole, a Secret Service logistics officer who had seen enough storms to know that danger doesn't always roar sometimes, it whispers. Before the motorcade began its move, Ethan stood near the front vehicle, a gleaming black Cadillac known internally as the Beast. To most, it looked like an oversized limousine, but to those who knew better, it was a fortress on wheels, capable of surviving chemical attacks, bombs, and bullets. But to Ethan, it wasn't just a machine. It was a symbol of protection, duty, and the unseen sacrifices behind safety. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in people who silently fight battles the world never sees, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal, because today's story isn't just about steel and power. It's about humanity that runs deeper than any engine. Ethan wasn't supposed to be here. 2 years earlier, he had nearly lost his badge after a tragic accident. An escort vehicle under his command had skidded on ice, resulting in a crash that injured 3 agents. Though he wasn't driving, guilt clung to him like frost. He spent months buried in paperwork and self-blame, watching others take the field while he sat behind a desk. But when a new directive came to reassign experienced personnel for a special operation, moving the presidential convoy from D.C. to a classified new site, Ethan volunteered. He saw it not as a job, but as redemption. That morning, the air carried the kind of quiet tension that only precedes something enormous. Every route had been mapped, every building along the way cleared, every manhole sealed. Helicopters circled above in synchronized patterns, while hundreds of agents in civilian clothes blended into the background. To the world, it would look like an ordinary day, but beneath that illusion lay the most sophisticated security ballet on Earth. As Ethan checked the vehicle seals, he thought of his daughter, Sophie, who had once told him, "Daddy, I don't understand your job, but I know you protect people who protect everyone else." She was 8 then. Now she was 10, and every time he left home, she hugged him like she was afraid he wouldn't come back. Her words gave him strength, but also fear, because deep down he knew that even the most perfect plan can crumble in seconds. The convoy began to move as sunlight broke through the mist. Streets were cleared hours earlier, under the guise of a maintenance operation. The lead SUV, filled with counter-assault agents, took the front, followed by decoy limousines, tactical support trucks, and finally, the president's armored car. Drones patrolled the skies like silent hawks. Ethan's role was to coordinate, timing every light, every turn, every breath of movement. He rode in the operations van, headphones on, heart steady but mind racing. Halfway through the route, a voice crackled in his earpiece. "Unidentified signal detected on Route 16. Possible jammer activity." His blood ran cold. A signal jammer meant one thing: someone was trying to blind them. He immediately activated the alternate communication system, his fingers trembling slightly. All units switched to Channel Bravo. Maintain visual chain. The convoy slowed, but it couldn't stop. Stopping meant exposure. Stopping meant danger. For a moment, the world seemed to shrink to the sound of his own breathing. Every second stretched like an eternity. The jammer signal intensified, and the tracking drone feed began to flicker. Ethan clenched his jaw, his mind racing through backup protocols. Then he remembered something: an older frequency system that had been decommissioned years ago, one he had helped test before it was shelved. It wasn't perfect, but it worked offline. Manual relay, he barked. Old system code 317. One by one, the convoy vehicles switched, the signal stabilized, the drones came back online. The convoy moved forward again, silently, swiftly, like a river regaining its course after a landslide. No one else would ever know how close they came to disaster that day, but Ethan did. And for him, it wasn't victory, it was relief. When they reached the transfer point, a secure airbase surrounded by mountains, Ethan finally exhaled. His hands shook as he removed his headset. The convoy rolled into the hangar, safe and untouched. Inside, engineers and security staff worked quickly to prepare the vehicles for airlift. Massive C-17 aircraft stood ready, their cargo bays open like steel mouths, waiting to swallow the world's most secure machines. Ethan watched as the beast was driven into the aircraft. He thought of the thousands of people it represented, not just the president, but every citizen who believed that someone, somewhere, was watching out for them. And then he thought of Sophie again, of her drawings of Daddy's big cars, taped proudly to the refrigerator at home. He realized that the most powerful thing he protected wasn't just one man, it was trust, the fragile, invisible trust that people place in others every single day. Hours later, the convoy was airborne, each vehicle secured inside massive cargo planes flying in formation. Ethan sat near the back of one, exhaustion settling into his bones. Outside the window, the clouds glowed gold under the afternoon sun. He smiled faintly, not the smile of pride, but of quiet gratitude. Redemption didn't come through glory, he thought. It came through persistence, through doing the right thing even when no one is watching. When they landed at the new facility in Colorado, snow was beginning to fall, thin and silent. The mountains stood like sentinels in the distance, their peaks shining under pale light. The convoy vehicles were unloaded one by one, their black armor contrasting against the white ground. It was then that Ethan noticed something. One of the decoy SUV had a flat tire from a sharp metal shard embedded in the tread, a small detail, invisible in the chaos of the mission, but one that could have caused disaster at high speed. He felt his throat tighten. They had been seconds away from catastrophe, and yet fate had held its hand. As the last vehicle was parked in the underground bay, Ethan stood alone for a while, watching steam rise from the engines. He felt the weight of silence settle around him, the silence that comes only after survival. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt human, flawed, lucky, grateful. He looked up at the sky, where the last sliver of sunlight faded behind the peaks, and whispered to himself, "We did it, Sophie. We really did." If this story touched your heart, if you believe that even the smallest act of duty, faith, or courage matters, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Because behind every headline, there are unsung people like Ethan, fighting quiet battles so others can live in peace. And before you leave, tell us in the comments what's one moment in your life when you chose courage over fear. As night fell over the Colorado base, Ethan walked toward his barracks, his boots crunching softly in the snow. The operation was complete, the convoy secure, the president safe. He paused for a moment, looking back at the faint glow of hangar lights behind him. For the first time in years, he felt at peace. The world would never know what happened that day, or how close they had come to losing something irreplaceable, but maybe that was the point. True kindness, true courage, they don't ask for recognition. They simply endure. The engines had gone silent, but the heartbeat of duty still echoed through the cold night. And somewhere, far away, a little girl was sleeping peacefully, dreaming of her father, the man who had protected not just a leader, but the fragile hope of millions. And in that quiet moment beneath the stars, the world's most secure convoy had done more than move through miles of road and air. It had carried the weight of human resilience. and the invisible promise that even in the darkest hours, some people still choose to protect, to believe, and to care,